Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, members of the media. My name is James Ryan Bozeman, and I'm the Student Government President at Pulaski Technical College. Today I act as in the role of a student, a concerned student at that, due to some circumstances that are going on at our college. And we would like to first start, before I go any further, with thanking Senator Linda Chesterfield for your time, for your allowing us to be in the People's House today to have this forum. It is a great honor to be here, so we thank you. I think before we go any further, I'd like to say that we are expecting a few other students and also a couple of other Student Government Association members to arrive. I'll say that we don't normally have meetings at the state capitol, so I think that might be an issue with parking, so we'll probably expect a few more members in the next few minutes. But I did want to go ahead and get started. Before we get any further, I'd like to introduce, everybody can introduce themselves at the table, and I guess we'll start with you. And also, if you want to use the microphones, hit the button when it's your turn, and that'll make it for everybody so they can hear it. But we'll start with you, sir.
I'm Jay Jansen. I'm a student at Pulaski Tech and on SGA Senate at Pulaski Tech. And thank you all for being here.
Yes.
You need to turn them off. You only need one at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Kate Hill. I'm also a student at Pulaski Tech.
My name is Abby Henderson, and I'm a first-year student at Pulaski Tech.
Go ahead, Nathan.
I'm Nathan Nelms. I am a part of the Student Government Association, Senator. This is my first year here, second semester.
All right. And if there are any other students in the audience would like to introduce themselves? Okay, sure, that's fine. All right. Let's move on to item number 3 on our agenda, which is right at the heart of why we're here today. We would like to discuss student issues that are occurring in Pulaski Tech. I'm glad that y'all are here. This is an open forum to discuss some concerns that we're having as students with the college and with your experiences at the college. I'd like to start by saying that I have been on the Student Government Association since the first semester of my time at the college. This is my 3rd year. And in that time, being on student government, both as a senator as well as a secretary and now a student government president, my role at the college has been to represent students and their concerns. We represent students as a whole. Currently, we have 9,969 students at the college, and any member that's on student government represents them as a whole. And part of that is my roles on student government as well as just as a student. We listen, we take notes, we consider everybody in our decision making as we move forward as a group on student government. Some of the things that I can speak about are that we have lots of concerns currently considering the college and the budget. Recently there was a millage consideration that was not passed by Pulaski County voters. We are currently breaking ground now on a $20 million fine arts and humanities building. And just last week, the Board of Trustees raised tuition for students by $15 a credit hour. Most students at our college usually take around 4 classes, sometimes 5. And considering that most classes are 3-hour classes, that's a significant amount of money that the students have to incur additionally. But we'll entertain anybody at the table at this time. We can discuss some of our student concerns. Feel free, if anybody has anything.
Well, recently, my friend and I tried to start up a chapter at Pulaski Tech. We started in October, and it's now May. So we still haven't, March. It's now March. We still haven't got it chartered yet. We have been going through this process. We've had several meetings with the student life director, and unfortunately, it hasn't gone anywhere. We're part of a larger organization as well, so it's not just with the Pulaski Tech, and it's prevented us from getting students involved in helping Arkansas, basically. So it's been pretty bad, I guess, but we're still working on it. Hopefully, we can get it started soon with everyone's help.
Sure. Mr. Jansen, here you go, sir.
May I ask, what is the nature of the organization that you're proposing?
It is the Young Democrats of Arkansas.
And may I just add that this organization is at 36, 35 other colleges around the state, community colleges including. And we were just trying to bring that to Pulaski Tech, and it's taking a little longer than we would like.
And if I may ask a specific question, if I may, what are some of the concerns that the college is having towards getting your charter ratified? For an example, are they discussing the language that's in the charter? Are they, do you feel as though they are maybe taking extra time than they should? Could you go into any details about that?
Well, one specific problem with the charter is that a national prescription from the organization as a whole, the Young Democrats of America, is that each member be under the age of 36. However, Pulaski Tech, we are a school that has a lot of older students, older non-traditional students, but they felt that that was discriminatory towards the people over the age of 36. But we expressed that there could be other gateways to that, such as the Democratic Party of Arkansas has the county committees, and there are several other auxiliary organizations that would aid to those people over the age of 36.
Sure. Does anybody else? Do you have any other concerns you want to bring?
Of course.
Okay, you ready? You want to bring something?
So, I'm not really sure where to start with my concerns. I'd have to say that one of my larger concerns at this juncture is, as a student, is what I'm observing in terms of the action of the school administration and their bullying tactics toward not only faculty, but now toward students, and most specifically toward President Bozeman, when all he has done is defended the truth and done his best to represent the students at Pulaski Tech. And for that, he has been retaliated against. And there is a culture of fear at Pulaski Tech. First, it was with the faculty due to the bullying tactics of the administration toward the faculty, and because of the absence of a process that allows proper review for circumstances such as that. And now there's beginning to be a climate of fear with the Student Government Association, as is evidenced by these empty chairs today. And that is one of my primary concerns. Not, like I say, I don't really know where to start. Other than that, there are some concerns I have about the school administration manipulating admission procedures and requirements that have disproportionately and profoundly affected minority students. And you know, we can't look the other way. We can't turn a blind eye to things like that, and that's why we put ourselves at risk in representing the truth and representing the students at Pulaski Tech. You know, no matter what the cost to us personally. And I yield back.
Thank you, Senator Jensen, for bringing those issues to light. And specifically in my case, I am receiving legal counsel at this time, so I am going to refrain from discussing any issues that are associated with me in the college as far as retaliatory acts. But I do think that that is a fair assessment. And I appreciate you mentioning that and shedding light on that. However, I'm going to refrain from discussing that at this meeting today. I would like to comment also about the culture of fear. And I think that is a key point to today's meeting also. As SGA president, again, I go back to my role. I'm the I guess the best way to describe it, I've said this before, I guess I'm the chief executive student, if you will, at the college for that organization. Many of my SGA members come to me and tell me all kinds of concerns that they're having with the college and student concerns. Some of those get mentioned in our meetings, but other times they don't. They just come to me for advice. I discovered back in the fall of 2013 that we were having issues with multiple faculty members and staff members feeling as though that current college administration's policies were inapt. They were flawed, but more importantly, some of those policies were not being followed, specifically the due process, the grievance procedure in relation to disciplinary matters with faculty members. And one might ask, how does that apply to students? And I'll just say it like this. If the faculty members in the classrooms that have to teach the material that they went to college for, received degrees for, they should be allowed to teach those materials and that discipline freely. Give the students at the college what they paid for. That's why they went to school. That's why we're going to school. And the current culture of fear at the college is at a breaking point. Personally, as a student, again, I'm so honored to be here today because this has been a struggle. I have had multiple discussions with students who are planning on leaving Pulaski Tech after this semester that are personally offended by the conduct of the college administration that's currently in place. So, culture of fear definitely exists. It's systematic. It is not just the students. It's across the board. Faculty, staff, students. With that said, are there any other concerns today that should be shed light on? Everybody, please, thank you.
I would definitely have to agree with James about the teachers being afraid to say what they want. I've been in several classes where we might bring up a topic that's relevant to the course, but they have not been able to discuss it. I'm in a comparative politics class, actually, where that's happened several times, where he said, we can't discuss this because I will basically get in trouble for it or penalized somehow. So it does affect what we are learning in the classroom and how the teachers feel as well in the classroom.
I'm going to piggyback off of what Ms. Hill said also. I have information that there is at least 2 faculty members now that carry similar devices that I have, smart tablets, and they record all their classroom lectures from this point for their protection, as well as the students' protection in this culture of fear. Again, several faculty members have expressed that sometimes the use of profanity is relevant in classroom lectures. Certainly, am I not encouraging or promoting berating students? That's not what I'm saying. That in part of some classroom lectures, you might have discussions about some example of sexual-oriented type conversations. Those instructors now are having to, they feel as though they have to record their lectures because given the current grievance process at the college, they feel as though they need every ounce of protection they can receive. And again, I'm just going to, and I've already made this point, and I don't want to get bogged down too much on it. My greatest concern for myself as a student, but also for other students, both present and future students at Pulaski Technical College, is that we receive the highest level of education that we can, point blank. And at this point, given current circumstances at the college, we feel as though that mission has been compromised. And in our agenda, we're going to discuss future goals. So I don't want this to turn into a situation where we are only bringing up the negatives of the college. I certainly want to discuss long-term planning and solutions. We want to talk about real solutions, then let's have that discussion today. Is there any other members here at the table, or students here at the table, that have any other discussions that they would like to have on student concerns? We need to move on. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, Senator Jansen?
I suppose not at this juncture.
Okay. Before we do move on, I'd like to bring up one other student concern. The fact that I know personally at least 10 separate students that have declared they're leaving Pulaski Tech after this semester due to their disgust with the practices that are going on right now says a lot. Those are just 10 that I'm aware of. There are others that have not talked to me, I'm sure. Retention of our students, focusing our attentions towards, as a college and as a student body and just as a community, trying to retain the students that we have currently to try to, keep them at our college. They're there for a reason. And to hear that we have so many students that are planning on leaving our college is quite frankly disheartening to me as a student leader. And again, we will discuss that. I have no other student concerns at this time. Unless anybody else does, I think we'll move on to our next item on our agenda for the future goals of Pulaski Technical College students. Point A is freedom of speech. I would like to start out by saying that one of the most profound rights I have as a citizen of this great country we live in is my freedom of speech, and I take it very personally. Being able to express myself.
Can I say something on that point?
Oh, please, go ahead.
Men and women have fought and died so that we have freedom to speak. And when it comes to a point where we can't speak the truth without being fearful of speaking the truth, then something needs to change.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly. And one of the issues that the student government brought up was trying to get a due process standard, the American Association of University Professors statement on academic freedom and due process. And we as the executive members, which include myself on the student government, submitted an email to Dr. Margaret Ellaby on January 28th. And since then, we have incurred some roadblocks. And part of that is this freedom of speech issue. Other students have also expressed that they do not feel as though they're comfortable with going to the current college administration with any concerns. Again, back to that culture of fear, and that is a restriction of freedom of speech in their minds. One of the future goals of freedom of speech at this college is we would like to reiterate to our college administration that we are not working against them as concerned students and the Student Government Association. We just want to freely be able to express our views and concerns with our college administration and not fear retaliation. In a meeting that I personally had with Dr. Margaret Ellaby, she stated 3 different times that there would be no retaliation. I'm not going to hash out or discuss what I feel the retaliatory acts are, but I can tell you that is a great concern to me. I would like to entertain at this time any other members that could discuss our long-term vision as students and in relation to freedom of speech. Give us some ideas. Are there any ideas out there that you members here or students here today could shed light on as we try to move forward today? Do you have any on freedom of speech?
Well, where you're not able to say anything on those issues, I very well can.
Yes, sir.
And the school administration first manufactured false charges against a faculty person. And that was where this all began, in defense of the truth. And the administration didn't seem interested in the facts and didn't seem interested in the truth. And so one thing has led to another, And now there are allegations against James because it appears to me that the administration wants to shut him up and get him out of the picture because he keeps speaking the truth, and it's very inconvenient for the administration. And he has not backed down, and they're doing their very best, fighting tooth and nail to try to get him out of the picture and not doing it in an ethical way. And I'm very disturbed by that. And I'm one of those students that I'm enrolling at UALR for at least one class. I'm planning an emergency exit from Pulaski Tech. And not because I don't want to stay, it's because I'm fearful of retaliation. And I'm just doing my job. I'm representing the students. James is just doing his job. We're just trying to defend the truth and represent the best interest of the students at Pulaski Tech. And we take our job seriously, and that's why we're here today. And I want to say again that very much appreciate Senator Chesterfield for making this possible so that we have this public forum, and thank you all, the students and others, for being here, because we have felt very alone in this struggle at times, and we feel very alone in a way right now because we're facing tremendous adversity. And so we appreciate all of you being here today.
Well, thank you for that. Again, I'm limited in what I can speak on my personal issues. I will tell you that I can confirm that I am pending a disciplinary matter at the college currently. I can confirm that, unfortunately. My greatest concern is that even with myself, I'm going to work on my issues with myself. I just don't want to see any other students go through quite the experience I've gone through. But, again, I want to get back on to the future. Let's talk about the future.
Let's do that.
Let's talk about the future of Pulaski Tech. I don't want to get too sidetracked when we've moved on to this agenda item, because I think it's important that we build consensus
Absolutely.
with the college administration. And even though some controversial issues are being discussed currently in this meeting, we've never lost sight of the fact that we just wanted a seat at the negotiation table with the college. And those issues are going to surface. The emails are out there. They are all Freedom of Information Act available for anybody who chooses to look at them. And that would be encouraged. And though there have been some things that we feel have been wrong, and that's what's led us here today, I think equally as important as exposing the truth is that we focus on, from this day forward, trying to build a relationship and mend our differences and move forward as a college. And in doing that, I challenge Pulaski Technical College administration to consider that as students, we are the largest stakeholder of that college. If it weren't for the students and the faculty and the support staff, there would be no college. But we need to mention also that if there were no students, then we really wouldn't have a need for faculty or staff. The students come from this community. They come from all over central Arkansas, Lonoke County, Saline County. We have about 70% of our students at Pulaski Tech are Pulaski County residents. 30% come from outlying counties. And some come from Faulkner County as well, I need to mention them. It's very important. Pulaski Tech serves a very important role in this community. For a lot of students, and I can speak for this personally, many conversations, Pulaski Tech is the option for many, whereas UALR or other universities around Central Arkansas State are not an option for some of these students. Pulaski Technical College offers a considerable amount of developmental education programs, and I feel as though it is imperative that we continue to focus on the success of this institution on a community level. Some of the facts will surface on enrollment numbers, and as Senator Jansen had mentioned, how minority students have been disproportionately affected. And in part of our future goals, I think that needs to be brought up. We'll get to that, and I'm straying away. I'm the facilitator of this meeting, and I'm straying away because there's just so many things that I'd like to say in such a limited amount of time. So I apologize if I'm all over the board. One of the future goals I'd like to see in freedom of speech, and this is definitely an issue. We have had issues in the past at the college with our free speech zone and having various groups and events at that college. I've been made aware last semester, this would have been fall of 13, the Libertarian Party of Arkansas was going to have a signature or petition signature drive for a ballot initiative, and they were denied by the college. And so much so that I had a conversation with the attorney that worked that case, and the college has since allowed that group to come and gather signatures at the college. So in one of my personal goals that I would like to see in the topic of freedom of speech is that we ensure that all groups, if they're following the protocol, be allowed to freely come to our college and have their tables. And that kind of piggybacks on Ms. Hill in her issues with trying to get a Young Democrats charter ratified by the college, and the appearances that the college are dragging their heels and almost purposely not allowing for that process to occur. And that's just unacceptable. Is there any other discussion on freedom of speech issues and the long-term vision and strategy of trying to ensure that freedom of speech is allowed at Pulaski Tech? Does anybody else have anything on that one?
Well, I'd just like to say that I just wanted to clarify something, that although I am planning to enroll at UALR, that is sort of a plan B, and I do plan to stay at Pulaski Tech and see this through, and continue to push for positive change at Pulaski Tech. I may be enrolled concurrently at both institutions, but I do plan to stay at Pulaski Tech and pursue these issues. I just wanted to state that for the record.
Does anybody else have anything on this topic? Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on. Future goals of due process. Let me start off by saying that on January 28th, 2014, the executive officers and I at Student Government Association submitted an email to Dr. Margaret Elvey, PTC president, concerning academic freedom and due process at the college. We also passed, Student Government Association discussed and voted on a resolution that would be 14-001, and that resolution I don't have before me today, but it's titled similarly to a resolution to request that the college enact the AAUP, the American Association of University Professors, due process and academic freedom statement, and for the college's consideration. In that particular resolution, it was forwarded to Dr. Elvey for her review, and we have not, as of this day, have not received any sort of feedback or report or response from that resolution that was passed, and that was voted unanimously, or correction, I'm sorry, that was 11 to 1, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, I don't have it before me today, so I apologize on that. I think one of our future goals in the due process is that the college has had 3 different varying positions in the last 4 months concerning their grievance procedure. Dr. Ellaby has publicly stated on the news, it was around February the 5th when we requested the investigation, the student government requested the investigation. Dr. Ellaby stated that that was a rigorous grievance procedure, and that it was followed to the T in relation to the instructor that was terminated in the fall semester of 13.
Can I say something on that point?
No, absolutely, please.
I know you're somewhat restricted about what you can say
Right.
at this juncture, but that rigorous review policy allowed the administration to manufacture evidence against a faculty member and misrepresent and misconstrue the facts of the case and ignore evidence. And that's where this all began. And one thing led to another, and here we are. And so we're still pushing for positive change in terms of policy and in terms of due process at Pulaski Tech. And that's one of the main things that we're asking for is positive policy changes. We want a better Pulaski Tech, and we think that we as students deserve that.
I agree. We want a positive Pulaski Tech, and I think that the community deserves that. We would like to see, as concerned students, that the college enact an actual grievance procedure that involves due process, a peer-reviewed due process procedure for staff and for faculty, not just faculty. If a faculty member, as exampled in a classroom, a student accusation is made against a faculty member, we would like to see a peer-reviewed process that doesn't just allow for 1 or 2 administrators to be the judge, jury, and executioner. And that, unfortunately, currently is the status quo at the college. That, again, is why we, on the Student Government Association, not only requested it, but passed a resolution encouraging it for the review of the college. And again, we have heard nothing in response. And that resolution was passed on January the 31st. Right. I'm not sure. It was very late January, very early February. So our future goal, and one of my future goals would be to reiterate our positioning with the college administration and they need to understand that this is a priority project for students. This needs to occur, and it needs to occur rather quickly. Does anybody else have any other suggestions or comments concerning the future of due process at our college?
Yes, if I may.
Sure, please.
It's my understanding that the Faculty Senate has several proposals for for policy guidelines in terms of due process. But from what I understand, they're not optimistic about the administration's stand and response to any of those proposals.
Respectively, I will say that I believe there is a committee called Committee for Faculty Involvement, that's CFI for short. And in that committee, they were actually discussing looking at the grievance procedure and evaluating the faculty handbook. But those issues are bogged down right now in that committee, and they have not been allowed to come to light just yet. They're trying to hash that out, and they're in active discussions currently. But again, we still haven't heard anything back from Dr. Ellaby concerning this issue.
So there again, if I may, there again, we seek to bring about a new era of compromise and mutual understanding. That's really what this is all about. That's what we've sought to do from the beginning. And it takes both sides. And we still want to talk about it. We still want to try to help affect those positive changes, and we just need the administration to be willing to consider making the needed changes. And we're here to help. We're here to be part of the solution.
Done. There's no other discussion on due process. I'd like to move. Mr. Nathan, do you have something? Please.
Yeah. Can we just get along with this? I mean, well, can we just, what's the word I'm trying to say? Work together and make an agreement, please? That's all we're asking.
It's important. And I agree. I agree. And I don't really know what to say, but I agree with you. And I think that's why it's so important that we're here today in an open forum so we can discuss these issues and move forward. And not just SGA, I mean students as well and the college. That's part of this discussion. I'd like to move on if we can, so we can, because we're running out of time here. One of the future goals that I see for college faculty and staff support, currently the college is divided. Several people blame the college administration for this. I'm not going to personally blame them. I think that it's a number of issues that have divided staff against faculty. Currently, we feel as students that staff is divided with students as well, given the circumstances surrounding the SGA's no competence resolution that was passed at the latter part of February, I believe. And in that, we as students have discovered that there is a great divide between staff members and faculty members, and also staff members versus students. And I think that it would be a wonderful thing to start welcoming open discussions at the college, such as a town hall meeting and other college conversations with all three, students, faculty, and staff, so that we can move forward as a college. Some students have expressed that they do not feel in this current environment that the staff are really there to support them. I hear numerous complaints from the financial aid department. And some of these issues are always going to happen. Not everybody's going to be happy by the result they get in their financial aid, and I understand that. But I personally think that one of the future goals should be to try to mend differences of opinion as we move forward, because the staff need to be on board with the faculty. The faculty need to be on board with the staff. The infighting that is going on between the two, the staff and the faculty members, is affecting us as students. And that is one of my key points here today, if nothing else, is that I believe that the college needs to come together and we move forward together. And in the discussions I've had with faculty and with staff members, I believe that if the college administration begins to be a little bit more lenient and willing to go that route, that would go a long way. Does anybody else have anything on this topic? Just me? Just me on this?
No, I just would echo your sentiment, James.
Sure.
We need to move into an era of solutions and compromise, and all get on the same page and all work to make Pulaski Tech a better school for the students that are there now and for students in the future. And that's what it's all about.
One other thing I want to bring up today is, again, Senator Jansen's already mentioned, you see how many empty chairs we have today. I had 30 students that said they'd be here today, and you see who's here. Thank you for coming. And I certainly don't want to sound that I'm upset with any of y'all for attending. But that, again, goes back to the college, the faculty, and the staff support in relation to students. They just don't feel the support, and they feel intimidated, and they're not here. They're not here.
Well, they see what's happening to you, James, and they're very afraid.
If there's nothing else on this topic, college faculty and staff support, we'll move on to retention and recruitment of future Pulaski Tech students. And this goes back to the conversation we were having earlier about, and really I'm going to tie in, I think, D and E, if I may. Retention, recruitment of future PTC students, as well as restoring community respect, is really a topic that goes hand in hand. There has been some bad publicity lately concerning Pulaski Technical College. I personally have been on the news 3 separate times and given on-air interviews concerning circumstances at the college. And also, the college has just recently gone through a failed millage proposal. It was defeated 4-1 by Pulaski County voters. And I think that hurts the college as well. And I want to say, first and foremost, that my goal today is not to harm the college's reputation. Quite the contrary. I want to see this college grow. I want us to rise to a higher level of education and understanding for this community. I think it's important that we serve this community. I know that we have lost nearly 2,000 students from the spring of 12 semester to the spring of 14 semester, which is this current semester. 2,000 students. I also know that from spring of 2012 until fall of 2013, we lost 1,350 students, of which 96% of those students were African American. The current numbers for this semester are not in, so I cannot speak for the racial implications for this semester. But again, in a year and a half's time, spring of 12, fall of 13, 1,350 students lost. 96% of them were African American. I want to also say that if you do a study of our student body currently, African American females are the majority student at our college. I believe the number is 54%. To lose 96% African American students, and I, as the student government president, see that in my mind is disgusting. And I definitely think that we need to have discussions concerning why that occurred, but we certainly need to move forward towards being more of a community-oriented college. There have been some financial aid issues that have arisen, and those issues, I believe, will come out in due time, and that's not part of this topic, so I'm going to not go there. But that explains partially why I think we had such a high drop in the number of students, and also why that 96% figure is so prevalent. I think that as the college has lost the millage, let me backtrack. I do know that the college receives $14 million a year from the Arkansas legislature. I believe they receive $3 million from I'm not sure what. And I apologize because I'm not a college administrator, and I'm not 100% fluent with these matters. But I do know that the college receives over $30 million a year in student tuition and fees. So, again, if it weren't for the students, I don't think we'd really have a college. With that said, losing 2,000 students in the last 2 years is a very big concern. And furthermore, those are 2,000 students that could have paid in to Pulaski Tech, which would have fostered about another, and it would have been an additional $5 to $6 million, and we lost that.
Can I interject something?
Please.
My concern in all that, my biggest concern is that those 2,000 students were kids and some adults that Pulaski Tech was their only hope of going to school. And, you know, I just have to say that breaks my heart that they're not able to go to school. And, you know, they're part of our community, and my heart goes out to them.
One of the things I'd like to say about trying to move ahead and looking forward is having open discussions with the college administration concerning what their plans are in trying to retain the students that they currently have, considering you've got 2 here that you're looking at that are leaving after this semester. I told you that we've got at least 10 that I've had discussions with, and there's countless others that are having issues. What can we do to retain the students that we currently have? What can we do to attract students to Pulaski Technical College, future students?
Let's try integrity, you know, to start with. I think that'd be a good starting point.
And I would agree with that. And I think that it goes from the top down. I am going to cite a specific example. I have to be, again, careful what I say due to my pending legal situation. But in retention and recruitment of future PTC students and restoring community respect, I think this is extremely relevant that on February the 28th at 10:30, I followed protocol in trying to get on. The trustees, the board of trustees at our college had a meeting. It was a specially called meeting, and this meeting was 2 days after the Student Government Association's no confidence vote against the president of the college. I followed the rules, and I did everything that I was supposed to do, and I have the emails that can back that up. And the board of trustees refused to allow me to speak. I did interrupt the meeting as they were concluding, but that was of no avail. And I think that that sets a bad precedent for Pulaski Tech to ignore their students when they are student focused. One of the things that I think we can do to restore community respect is to always ensure that if a student has an issue, especially somebody in a elected body such as Student Government Association, that we as a college in the future ensure that that situation never happens again. That if a student wants to speak to the board of trustees, that that student should be allowed to do so and not be told no. That is definitely a goal that I would like to see occur at our college. That we do not deny the voice of the student, and that we never, as a college, lose sight on how important students are to the success of the institution.
Yeah, sort of building on that. I would propose, and I think most students would agree with me, and most members of the community would agree that it would seem beneficial and the right thing to do to move into a new era of a higher level of shared governance between the faculty and the administration and the students and the board of trustees. And I think that would also serve to help us as a school regain the respect of the community and the confidence of the community.
I don't want to leave any of y'all out. I think we've done all the talking here, so yeah, if y'all have anything, feel free.
Well, this is kind of back on the, the 2000, I guess that's what it was, 2,000 students that we lost almost.
Yes.
Since we're talking about future concerns, my concern is that is going to increase the loss of students, because, now this is just from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette article that I read, so I haven't heard it from any of the administration or anything, but there was a article on Pulaski Tech that we are raising the tuition. Now, the reason I go to Pulaski Tech is I got scholarships other places, but I've got a lot of school ahead of me. And, I don't need to take out student loans from the get-go, especially when it's the same education. Pulaski Tech is not a bad education in most aspects. And so Pulaski Tech was the only place that I didn't have to pay out of pocket the scholarships I got. For the first time next year, I'm going to have to be paying out of pocket. Now, this is only about a couple $100, and I'm one of the lucky people. I'll have to work for it, but that's not going to be a big deal. But there are some people, we always say that people at Pulaski Tech, they're not going to college. Most of them just go to college. This is a non-traditional college. That's going to be a problem for a lot of the students there. they have a life outside of college. A couple extra $100 is a big deal in some cases. And also, I'm not an aviation student, but I read in that article that aviation students' costs go up to like $800, which is a ton of money for a non-traditional student who's just trying to do what they want with life. And I fear that the college will lose a lot of students with that issue and that concern. And to be honest, I'm not really sure as to why the costs are even raising. I know that we're building that new building, but I heard that we got the money for that back when we built the culinary building. And so I would assume it's from the millage not passing or something, but it would be nice to at least be told where that money's going to. So that's all I have to say.
Well, and I appreciate you mentioning that. This week I have received numerous complaints about why we are building a new building directly after the millage failed, and there are talks of laying off faculty, staff, and programs that benefit students. That is a primary concern of the students this week. Yes, I believe, like you said, I believe that the money had already been allotted for that building. I'm not 100% sure. This has been an extremely busy week for me. But it's the appearances of such. It's the appearances of such. And that's part of the issue with restoring community respect, but part of the community is the students. And if the students feel that they're being asked to pay $15 a credit hour, which could be several $100s a semester in an additional incurred cost, only to look across and see this week, unannounced on the Pulaski Tech website, I might add, that they are building this building and taking away a parking lot. I think that one of the primary future goals that is not listed on this today is that we as students feel as though we want to have better communication with the college administration. We want a position to be able to sit there at the bargaining table, at the negotiation table, at the strategy table, however you want to word it. We understand that we are not degree holders yet, that we have a long journey ahead of us in the academic world. But we also feel as students that we are the largest stakeholder of the college, and that if the college is discussing things that are going to benefit the students long term, that I think it's only right and only fair and very reasonable for the college to have some students at that table. Do they have to necessarily be student government association? Not at all. One student would be better than no students. And currently, the 3 years I've been on SGA as a student leader, I have actually never been asked one time to come to anybody's office and have these discussions. Certainly not by the trustees. And I will say that, and I don't want to cast such a negative cloud over Pulaski Tech, because I do want to say that there is one positive thing that has come out. And Ms. Tessman can even attest to this one. I mean, we have, as a college, invited students to sit on various standing committees at the college. And so that's a plus and that's a positive step. And that just occurred this year. I sit on two of them, on the Quality Council and the Academic Affairs Standing Committee. So, does anybody else have anything on how we can focus on restoring community respect, or what we can do, or what we can mention to the Student Government Association? Jay, do you have anything else on that topic, or?
Not at this moment.
Okay. I think what we'll do now is the announcements on this agenda. I'd like to announce that we are going to have a regularly scheduled Student Government Association meeting Friday at 2 o'clock. at the Tom Steve's conference room at the main campus. And those meetings are open to the public. Some of the things that we discussed today will be mentioned in that meeting. And I can tell you on Student Government Association end that we are actively looking at a long-term strategy and as we move forward. And if anybody else has any final comments, I'd like to entertain that at this time. Otherwise, I think we should adjourn. Does anybody have anything else? Nathan? No, okay. Anybody else have anything?
I just wanted to thank Senator Chesterfield one more time
Absolutely.
for making this venue possible,
Yes.
and for letting our voices be heard.
I second that motion. Okay, well, students and members of the public, members of the media, we certainly sincerely appreciate you coming out today. Ms. Chesterfield, I can't stress enough how much we appreciate your assistance as we look forward to building consensus with the college in the future and trying to promote a more positive light, or more positive picture of our college. Thank you very much.